Welcome back to Tabletop Assault. I'm Ross, and today we're going to continue our segments on examining units from the Adeptus Mechanicus force. Today I'm going to look at another one of the troop choices, which will be the Skitarii Rangers. Now these are a really cool unit as well. They came out obviously with the cloaks and their metal plating and their hoods, which were pretty awesome models when they came out a while back. So yeah, I didn't use Rangers as much as I used Vanguard in the last edition. However, with new rules, I think that personally Rangers have seen a wee bit of a new lease of life. This comes down to a few tactics that you can do with them. So with that, let's have a look at the stats for the Skitarii Rangers. So Skitarii Rangers have movement 6, so again, standard for infantry. They are weapon skill 4, so average in combat, 50-50 chance they're going to hit. They are bliss skill 3, so they are pretty accurate, which is ideal, sort of standard for like Space Marines, Eldar, etc. Strength 3, so again, not particularly strong, but okay, and toughness 3, so not as durable. They have 1 wound apiece. They have 1 attack, except for their alpha does have 2. They are leadership 6, except for the alpha who's leadership 7. So not that brave, but hey, not too bad. And they have a 4+ save, which is about average as well, and again will keep them on the board slightly longer. So with that, let's have a look at the war gear available to them. So their standard weapon is the Galvanic Rifle. Now the Galvanic Rifle has a huge range of 30 inches. For a standard gun, that is awesome. Really good. It means that their sort of good position is staying back. However, they are a rapid fire weapon, so if you do decide to come forward or your opponent is coming towards you, you can get the additional shot if they are within half range. They are strength 4, so slightly better than the Vanguard's radium carbines. They are going to be wounding toughness 4 models on 4+, and obviously your 3s, toughness 3s on 3s, which is kind of nice and kind of handy. AP 0, again, light bulb guns, not bad, can't argue with that. Standard for standard guns in a lot of ways, and damage 1, again, very standard. However, each time you make a wound roll of 6+, they count as AP -1. So a nice wee handy ability to have on a 30-inch rapid fire gun, a strength 4. Sometimes that's going to come handy every once in a while, where you get that 6 and your opponent might fail and be like, gotcha. So, kind of nice ability to have, not really going to impress the world, but okay nonetheless. So up to 2 Skitarii Rangers can replace their Galvanic Rifles with an Adeptus Mechanicus special weapon. Now that covers Arc Rifle, the Plasma Calvar and the Transonic Arquebus. I may pronounce that wrong, I do every time, I'm very sorry. You can keep correcting me if I am doing it wrong. I'm not going to talk about the Plasma Calvar and the Arc Rifle. The Arc Rifle may have a place within the force, especially if you are going to plan to move forward Rangers. Personally, I see that the natural fit for Rangers is the Transonic Arquebus. So what does the Transonic Arquebus do? It is a range 60 weapon. Cool. It is heavy 1. So don't move, otherwise you're -1 to hit, except for a special rule I'll get to in a second. It is strength 7, so really high. Most infantry models you're going to be wounding on 3s, you might get some monstrous creatures where you'll wound on 3s as well, and most vehicles you're going to be wounding on 4s. Not bad, not bad. -2 AP. Great, I think -3 would have been a bit abusive, so -2 is pretty cool. And D3 damage, nice. I've got some chaos with that D3 damage, so really like it. Special rule is the weapon cannot be fired if firing model moved during the movement phase, so it may be heavy, but if you move you're not firing it. So you really want to make sure you've got in position if you are taking Transonic Arquebuses. And this weapon may target a character even if not the closest enemy unit. So they're snipers. Really handy. Each time you make a wound roll of 6 for this weapon, it inflicts a mortal damage in addition to its normal damage. So really nice. They are character grabbers, if you will. Usually just if you take Transonic Arquebus and whatever you decide to take them on, they will usually have those 2 Transonic Arquebuses targeting characters to try and snipe them. Excellent, because if you get 6s, you're going to cause a mortal wound and you might cause an additional D3 damage. With 2 of them, that is particularly scary. So I find them to be a natural fit with the Skitarii Rangers due to the range of them. Just sort of works out quite nicely, and your opponent will have to think about them. If you have up to 10 Rangers, you can have an additional Adeptus Mechanicus special weapon in the unit by replacing a galvanic rifle. So if you take 10, 3 Transonic Arquebuses. Makes sense. One Skitarii Ranger may take either Enhanced Data Tether or Omni Spec. We'll discuss that in a minute. And the Alpha may take 1 weapon from the Adeptus Mechanicus melee weapons if they choose so, and may replace a galvanic rifle with one of the Adeptus Mechanicus pistol weapons. Won't go into that in too much detail, mainly because I've never really upgraded my Alphas before. There may be situations where it might be quite handy to have their melee weapons or pistols. I kind of struggle to find it. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. So going to our special rules, they have Canticles of the All-Messiah. Again, I explain this every time, very important to have this army-wide, because if you don't have if you have a single unit without that rule in your detachment, you don't get Canticles. You're losing a lot if you do that, so don't, so great, naturally has it. They have Bionics. All models in this unit have a 6-up invul save. Excellent, always handy to have an invul save in case you want to try and save 1 or 2. 6-up in anything to write home about, but it's still kind of handy and nice to have. Omnispec, an enemy unit does not receive the benefit of saving throws for being in cover if they suffer shooting attacks from a unit that includes an Omnispec. Really handy if your opponent is abusing cover. An Enhanced Data Tether allows you to reroll morale tests for units that includes a model with an Enhanced Data Tether. So if you've got a large blob of Rangers, the Enhanced Data Tether may be handy if you've got a large blob and you want to reroll that morale. So how do I see the Rangers fitting within Adeptus Mechanicus? Now, I personally now have moved from Vanguard and 7th to Rangers. I'm finding a bit more useful in what they do. The Vanguard are naturally probably more used for moving forward and taking objective points, but in terms of reliable range, especially in the opening round of the game, you might find Rangers are better. Now, it may not be the galvanic rifles that sell you on this, but the Transonic Arquebus certainly should. They are snipers. You can cause some serious scare to your opponent if you start firing on their characters. I caused significant damage to David once and scared him in a game of Admech versus Necrons, which may have not gone live yet, but we'll see. And I just was like, wow, this is fantastic. So I would personally run them in a 5-man squad. Obviously I would go with all galvanic rifles, with even the Alpha just taking his galvanic rifle, and 2 Transonic Arquebuses. I'm not buying them for the Ranger, like the galvanic rifles as such. They are quite cheap with the Rangers, which is fantastic. I'm going with the Transonic Arquebuses to do the damage. If you've got any objectives in cover, I find these guys to be quite handy on sitting on them. Now, you can put heavier units such as your Dream Crawlers, etc. on them, but having Rangers beside them on that objective is really handy as well, and just abusing the Transonic Arquebus's shots. Pretty simple. I could go into more features about these, but I just find that the Transonic Arquebus has had a huge upgrade compared to the last edition. Do I think, like Vanguard, if you're playing big games, that you can actually just keep spamming Vanguard and move them about the place? No, I think, to me personally, I think 2 units of Rangers is more than enough. Take them in 2 units, 5, 2 Transonic Arquebuses, and target the characters. If they've got 2-up saves, yeah, they might survive a wee bit longer. You might get some mortal wounds on them, and if you get those D3 damages, then great. If you're against an opponent who has only 3+ saves, well, they may be in for a scare on that one. as they are just really hard hitting shots, and if you abuse them with an Omni spec as well, which I think is a natural fit for Rangers, then yeah, you're going to be scaring your opponent because they may be in cover just with their character as well. No cover save on top of it as well, and it will really reduce them as well for the points in that. I'd highly encourage it. Wouldn't really go with the enhanced data tether. You might be encouraged to take a 10-man squad and take 3 transonic arquebuses. I've not tried it yet. It might work, might not. Basically your other guys are going to be counting as wound tokens in that, but then you've got to think about the morale, and if they cause enough damage, your opponent might just go, well, you're going to lose your transonic arquebuses anyway, and you're going to have to use command points to save them. So again, like Vanguard, I'm finding that 5-man squads are probably quite effective on them as well. So yeah, pretty short one. I finally managed to keep it under 20 minutes on my review videos. I'll try my hardest on that one because I'm only targeting a unit at a time. But I think that's the best sort of ways to look at Rangers, is that they are your camping units on objectives and your snipers. So yeah, that's how I play them, and I've seen some great results of them causing quite a bit of damage and scaring my opponents. Please let me know any other ways you've played Rangers. Have you tried them with arc rifles moving forward, again using more the rapid fire rule than using the transonic arquebuses? Has it been as good as the sniping? I don't know, I've not tried it, let me know. As usual, please comment, share, like and subscribe. And also check out our social media, check out any sort of projects we're working on, and also our sort of rumours and review and things that are going on in the Warhammer community, as we try and keep on top of that and let you guys know as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you again on our Tabletop Assault Battle Report.